Hello everyone, and welcome back. Over these next several summaries, I will be covering the primary events that occurred in the many sessions that made up the second arc of our story. This is going to take a lot of time to explain, and there may even be some confusion about some of the courses of action that were taken by our players. Many of the problems and situations that they deal with often require responses that don't always immediately bring about solutions or resolutions to these addressing issues. The campaign and the story that these players begin to weave as a result becomes increasingly complex from here. And I will do my best to bring about as robust, complex, and accurate a retelling of how these brave heroes addressed the ruling Red Hand that came to plague their days. Last we left off, there was a competition, a night of games and drinking and great feasting, a celebration of the battle won at Tarwin's Gap, over a much greater host of Shadowspawn. Several Aes Sedai have arrived in Faldara, as well as a former Red who now wears the striped stole of the Yamerlin seat, Gitara Adalorna. As the night progresses and a great many prizes are won by our party, the long-awaited rematch of Pell and Barrick's drinking contest is cut down before it even has a chance to get started. I know, I'm awful. I'm sorry, guys. Murdral and Trolloc storm the Great Hall, and the entire keep seems to be caught unawares somehow. Aelan Onerdena wrought a sword of fire made of tainted Sidene in a room full of Aes Sedai and Red Sisters, and just hopes no one notices so that he may fight these beasts. Adel Mathlin and Barrick Stonecutter were both given charges of flame on their blades by the runaway accepted, Gina Serenel, who is also in danger of discovery by the Aes Sedai and being carted back to the tower. Our resident Aiel went to fight a Fade, and Ferredin of the Nine Valley Sept of the Tardad Aiel was paralyzed under the terrifying gaze of the eyeless. Aelan has a feeling developing within him, some dark roiling in his gut that he can't explain, but it's pulling him, it's itching like a bad bug bite, and he wants to know why. So he follows it, just leaves, choo, gone. Barrick, too, is paralyzed by fear, and Maestrim Aldar, adopted ward of Kenomora Jagad and one of the party's blade masters, attempts to help an Aes Sedai who is being throttled by a Trolloc, only to fail and watch the sister be torn in two before their eyes. As the remaining Shadowspawn are dealt with, Maestrim and Adel both make their way to the courtyard, assisting the soldiers there with the assault on Faldara Keep. Selenia Daigar, Aes Sedai of the Blue Aja, herds the Emmons Fielders into a tight group and ushers them out of the room, heading deeper into the keep and away from the danger. As all of this happens, there is a deep, booming voice that resonates through the hall and in every room of the keep. "He has escaped!" The Shadowspawn take great heart in this, hefting their weapons and roaring in their dark, black speech. The party divides at this point, with Gina, Barrick, and Ferredin following the trail of bodies left behind by Selenia and her warder, Rem and Dragarin, as they guide and guard the Emmons Fielders out of the way of greater danger. They follow this trail to first the dungeons, where it seems that the door to one cell has been flung wide open. This track then leads from the dungeons to the armory, where it appears that the armory door was forced open, with a certain chest that was kept there for safekeeping gone, missing. A certain chest containing a golden horn, said to call back the heroes of old from beyond the grave, to fight for the one who blew it. Yep, that's right. It seems that the Horn of Valir is indeed missing, and possibly in the hands of Dark Friends or Shadowspawn. With few options before them, and no sign of the Blue Sister that has directed their steps since before Bendershem, they follow the trail yet again, leading this time to the courtyard, where they see Rem Mandragoran and Selenia Daigar with the Emmonsfield Five. Rem is in the middle of trying to give the young villagers a morale boost, as the odds look grim. Van looks to be shaken somewhat, and Pell's incessant grin has been wiped from his face. Guy is staring at nothing, gore and blood staining his axe, and both Kisora and Arala are holding belt knives in their hands. Looking determined, energetic, prepared. A look of shell-shocked horror seems to have crossed over the men's faces from the carnage. There still seems to be no sign of Aelan anywhere. not since he bolted from the hall in the middle of the fight. Selenia asked Gina at this point for them to link, to which Gina promptly refused such an arrangement, preferring to be able to respond to this encroaching threat with her own power and skill, rather than be at the mercy of Selenia's response time if she should find herself in danger. Bracing themselves, Ferredin, Gina, and Beric venture out into the chaos of the courtyard with the Emmonsfield Five and their guardians. Out in that chaos, Adel and Maestrom have rallied a group of the Shinarans, with Maestrom carving their way through Trolloc and Fade, and even some dark friends that have arrived to assist their sinister compatriots. To the group, and any observer with an eye for battles or a perceptive gaze, they may have noticed that the Shadow Spawn are behaving in a peculiar manner this time. Normally only the Fades are given any form of cunning or intellect, though it seems that Drakkar, Trolloc, and Myrddraal alike all fight and move together in a seamless ebb and flow that seems clearly coordinated by one individual. But who or what would have that kind of power or control over so many Shadow Spawn? Over the courtyard, across the way, Maldeth slithers away with a guard of Trollocs and dark friends, with two of the bestial Trollocs carrying the chest that contains the Horn of Valir. Next to Maldeth is a Fade, though it seems to be taller than the others in the keep. It looks back and stares deep into Maestrom's eyes, and grins. Creepy as that may be, our stalwart Shinaran soldier cries havoc and lets slip the dogs of war, or lets the dice fall as they may. Making a beeline for this Myrddraal, they charge towards it. Eilon has made his way through the keep, following this sinking feeling in his gut, unable to stop himself. First the dungeon, then the armory, he follows a strange mirror of Selenia Sedai's path. Arriving in the courtyard without ever having seen her somehow, the Emmonsfielders, her warder, or the source of this strange, putrid roiling in his gut. Still following the feeling, Eilon too is thrown into the chaotic storm of violence that is the keep. He makes his way across the courtyard, avoiding the individual fights and larger skirmishes that spoil the richness of the open night sky. He spots someone ahead of him, a man in rags and crowned in filth, a man that matches in sight the feeling our elven channeler is feeling in his belly. Shouting the name of that vile man, Eilon brings the attention of the group to the escaping dark friend and the chest that he is making off with. Engaging with Maldeth and the strange Myrddraal, known as a Shadow Seeker, Eilon speaks with them to buy the time his party needs to arrive to his aid, and dark words are exchanged between him and Maldeth. As Maestrom charges, and Ferredin unveils a strange ability his newfound spear from the Blight has, things seem to unfold in slow motion. Launching towards the new, taller Fade, he disappears in a flash of golden light, appearing beside the spear now sticking into the Shadow Spawn. Up close, Ferredin notices that this Fade has 4 dark tentacles on its back and straight black hair that goes past its shoulders. That's where we call the session and return to the fight next week. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I'm your storyteller, Darian, and this has been another episode of the Giraffivores campaign, and our telling of the Third Age Come Again.